All right, go ahead. Try that again.
Okay. Calling to order the meeting for the Conservation Commission for the City of Torrington at 6:33 p.m. Let's see. Present is, who's here? Is everybody here?
Everybody's here, yep.
Okay. So Jim Fedorich, Dan
Here.
McGinnis, Tom Kalinowski, Robert Demeli,
Yep.
Staff Jeremy Leifert, and myself, Chris Altman. And then we have the April 16th minutes for approval.
Yeah, we have actual minutes.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Just say your
This
name
is Tom.
for the, yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is Tom.
Okay. So we have a motion. We need a second.
Second.
Okay, Jim for a second.
Yep.
And we'll take a vote. Jim?
Aye. Good.
Dan?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. So on new business, we have preliminary review of Bessie Pond cleanup project for possible advisory comment.
All right, so I believe we sent out the packet of information we got in. It's actually going to go before the Wetlands Commission for their meeting next week, which is just going to be accepted by the commission. So we'll have some time until the next Wetlands meeting after that. What I wanted to do, we have a meeting in between where we can actually finalize comments, but I at least wanted to bring it to everyone's attention and get the and get all the information out. So in a nutshell, the project's going to be to use what's known as a York rake on the bottom. So it's not completely a dredging project, but it brings up all the really light material that's been accumulating on the bottom of the pond. And beyond that, they're also they're proposing to clear out a lot of the vegetation that's kind of creeped in on the far side. I mean, I guess would be the closest to the high school driveway.
So there's
Right. That would be the northeast end.
Yes. Yep.
Right. Right.
So are they they're just going to clear the vegetation that's on the peninsula? They're not going to pull the peninsula out because that's all silt from.
Yeah, I think they want to actually, I mean, their proposal is to pull it all out and make it basically an oval pond again.
Oh, good. Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's interesting. Because originally, yep. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Originally, they wanted to leave that. This goes back several years ago.
Yeah.
And they want to leave that somewhat like a sandbar or whatever, which kind of washed in from the, from the brook that comes down Winthrop. Yeah.
And I don't think that's, is proposing terrestrial vegetation clearing within the 0.6 acre upland area to the east. So it sounds like they're really not proposing all of it.
They're really not dredging anything, though.
No, it's not a dredge. They're basically just bringing up the York rake only grabs like the lighter material on the bottom.
Yeah, the vegetation, but
yeah.
I mean, the place really needs to be dredged.
You got it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's that could be, I guess, part of the recommendations if that's what we think on this commission.
Sure.
But they're making some arguments for and against in their proposal here.
Yeah, but I mean, if they don't do anything, the sediment's going to continue coming down. It's mostly sand from from the storm drains.
Yeah, and what they're
that pretty much is been solved. They put that brook coming down Winthrop. Mm-hmm. They put a whole bunch of riprap in.
Yeah.
A few years back, and that kind of slowed that that soil movement down into the pond.
It didn't stop it.
What's that?
It doesn't stop it. It may have slowed it and reduced the amount.
Reduce the amount. Yeah, I assume if you went in and you started dredging it, you would have to. Ponds really only last about 10 years. And every 10 years you need work on any pond, no matter where it is, if you want to keep it, as a pond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
10
right.
years
Saying
is a
this
number,
part of
yeah.
a multi-year management project, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine this is going to be,
I have a question. Does this have to go before Army Corps?
I don't know if they're taking out, it's 5,000. I don't know annually if they're taking out that much. It doesn't, let me see what it says here. It is going to be enough. It's definitely going to be enough to have to pile and de-water on the side of the pond.
Because I think Army Corps rejected dredging.
So maybe that has something to do with it too. I don't know the full history on that, but
Am I wrong on that? Does anybody remember?
I don't know if that ever went that far.
Okay, I thought that was.
I think if I recall right, that we were there was talk about establishing a fund,
Yep.
so we could donate, people can donate from the town to cover the cost. There was something like 500,000 cubic yards of dredge material that was, planned to come out. That's to make the pond something around with a depth around 10 feet, I think, in the center.
Yeah.
And then that kind of just died.
I thought that the reason it died was that we couldn't, that Army Corps was a no-go.
I think, so I'm reading this here. It says, on January 23rd, 2000, a site meeting was held with DEEP and ACOE to discuss the stabilization project. It was clear at the meeting by the ACOE that removal of the sandbars from Bessie Pond would not be permitted. So that's what it says in this. This is a memorandum from July of 2012.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I remember that discussion, but I don't know. I don't think our Army Corps ever got involved in at all. It was that was a plan just to leave the sandbar in.
No, we wanted to take it out. We wanted to restore it back. So the whole thing was you got to put that whole riprap brook in.
Yeah.
To slow down the sediment and all. I mean the sand,
right.
silt that was pouring in from the hill, and then bring it back to its original depth and shape. But they were not having it.
So I guess we're sort of in agreement that at least we can recommend, preliminarily next week to the Wetland Commission that they should at least ask about the sandbar and Army Corps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a note for that for next week's meeting.
That's a good question.
Can we vote on that?
It would be nice to take that sandbar out, period, because it made when that pond was originally that oval shape, that was a real good looking pond.
Yeah.
Going back a few years, I'm talking something like 20 years ago when that bar wasn't there.
The other note that I made is especially there is an area of cattail on the what direction? Let me orient myself.
It's on the opposite side, isn't it? It's
hold on, turn. I think it's on sort of the eastern side of the pond. That's if they take out the rest of the vegetation, I would recommend that they maybe keep that section. It's not very big, but it's good for waterfowl habitat and all that.
Yeah,
keep cattail. Do we need a vote on these recommendations, Jeremy?
I think we would maybe wait to finalize them until the next meeting.
Okay.
I was kind of late with it, but I did send out that checklist that we have.
Yeah.
Just at about 10 after 6, I sent it out.
Okay.
So maybe between our two meetings, we can just go over that list. For everybody else can kind of review the list and just make comments.
And the other question I have, I don't know if you know, is are they looking to make this some kind of yearly maintenance?
It says annual maintenance. It says annual maintenance project.
Okay,
Yeah, it's, where is it? Yeah, it says the project is proposed to take place in the fall each year.
okay,
So,
okay. Do you think that they would progress? You know, like if they clean up the light stuff, would they get a little every year, or would they just get a year's worth?
I kind of, it wasn't submitted with this, but there was some talk, and I saw some drawings in a different file of a grid pattern they were going to run.
Okay,
It's not in with this,
okay.
this
And that would
proposal.
just be a question that I had, because it would, I mean, if they're doing annual maintenance and they can keep it within whatever range, I mean, I don't really know how it works. Is there like a certain amount of fill that you're removing that after that point, Army Corps has to be involved? Like, can you pull out a little every year?
Yeah, so this isn't, I didn't send this out to everyone, but this is, let me find the camera. There's a grid pattern on here that's actually, looks like it has years labeled out on it. So maybe they're only doing a couple of swipes in a couple of areas each year.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the impression I got from what they were showing from reading the material is they were going to do this piece and then that piece and then another piece.
Yeah, I can, for the people that, I don't know if everybody can see what I'm doing, but I can scan this and send it to everyone tomorrow.
okay.
It's not, like I said, it's not part of this packet, but it'd be a good question to ask.
Okay. All right. So can we, are we set with Bessie Pond cleanup?
Yeah, well, what I would say is in everybody's email is the kind of the question list for our application reviews. Just look that over, and I think maybe we go through that next meeting
Okay,
after we know a little more about the project after next week's meeting.
For
Next week's wetland meeting.
excuse me, for clarification, we'll look over that checklist, and then our conversation at our next meeting will be to settle on our position, or what is the purpose of the next?
Yeah, because the wetland commission is going to accept the application, but then they got to sit on it. They can't make a decision until the following meeting.
Yep.
So I think if we settle on any items that we might want to turn in as part of our official recommendations, we just want to have those, I think, done by the end of our next meeting.
Very good.
I can
Jeremy, who is
draft something, and then we can just work through it for the
who's
next
going to manage this project?
So it's this Solitude Lake Management in consultation with Parks and Rec and Public Works.
Okay, yeah,
Parks and Rec and Public Works.
yeah, I got you. Yeah.
I think they're officially, I think Solitude's officially being overseen by Parks and Rec, but Public Works has their input too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
okay. So moving on to old business. The discussion scheduled for open space parcel inventory and data collection.
So everybody's home, so it's been super busy in the office over the last month. So both of these old business items I haven't really done a lot with, but I think when we ended off last meeting, I was going to take the smaller parcels that can maybe be done individually and just send out some information on them and then put them up for grabs and see if anybody wanted to do them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the ones that are like, an acre or less that someone could do individually.
Yep.
So that's still on my list of things to do. So then we can, when we might get out of this COVID thing, we'll, theoretically only have the big ones left that we have to do as kind of a group
Okay.
that we can work through. Yeah, so I have the whole, and I also have to find a little time the data sheets that we've done already. I want to try to get them, kind of entered into I don't want to have them all handwritten. I'd like to have them, kind of typed in, but I have that to do too. But hopefully maybe next week I'll get all that out.
Okay,
I'm trying to get under, I mean, I'm starting to get out from under my pile from only being here 2 days a week for a while.
yeah,
So,
okay. All right, so we have no communications. This is a short meeting.
yeah, just the open space acquisition grant, I actually just emailed the property owner today because we're coming up on this meeting.
Okay,
So, if we get a response back, I'll try to move forward with that.
okay,
I've basically gotten about 10 minutes into the application, so I haven't gotten too far with the application either. So,
Jeremy, what the price on it is it what I forget what the exact price on it was. It was 100 and something.
oh yeah, it was 149.9. Yeah, that's right. We were talking about the
Yeah.
we were talking about the old appraisal. I think people wanted to see the old appraisal, so I scanned in just
Yeah, 149,000. Yeah.
yeah, and we don't have a digitized copy of it, so I just scanned in like the summary pages, a couple of
Yeah,
pages.
that's fine. Yeah, that's Bruce Hunter did it back then. The 100. I mean, that's what he's still looking for.
Well, we haven't had a new appraisal done, so I mean, no, he was. I think where we were stuck on was about 80,000 the last time that we had a conversation. So,
Okay.
and that was.
What if the town got together with the local land trust in Torrington?
Well, I will tell you right now, the local land trust doesn't have that much money. They may be able to put up some.
Why would they need money? If you got them to donate the money, in other words, you throw them. For instance, let's say you gave 25,000 out of our till, and the land trust donated another $50,000 or whatever, where they can write that off.
Well, he can write it off if he donates it to the city too.
Really?
I don't think
you
there's
could
any
do that
interest from him anyway.
Okay. I didn't realize that. I thought only land trust can allow that to be.
No, I mean, if I'm looking at the map that you sent, and it looks like a good pieces to buy in the sense that it would, you have to the south of it, there's the land trust property.
Yep.
2 land trust properties separated by that trolley line, and then you have the DEP property across the road. Then you have the Machuga property. I mean the Machuga Park.
Yep.
Across the road too. So you have a pretty good.
Yeah, it's certainly not a bad parcel to own. Yeah.
I mean, we connect them nicely,
Yeah, sure.
The city, the state, the land trust.
And when you talk about habitat for waterfowl, that's ideal,
Yeah.
And matter of fact, there's even the trout in that Still River that runs, which is amazing. They're native trout still in that river.
really, there's brook trout?
What's that?
Brook trout?
Brook trout, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and if the thing is, I could only get what I thought was a couple of important pieces of this file, but if anybody ever wants to come in and this is all Leone stuff. It's like 3 inches thick.
They're working on it for a while there.
Yeah. If anybody's curious, we've got this file here. So
Well, I'd like to just chime in here for a minute. I think this is a really good potential project for us, and I think all of the things that were stated here tonight on the benefits of its being contiguous with a lot of other complementary properties and all that. I still wonder, what is the main purpose of doing this? And in particular, is our main purpose to provide a protected area for waterfowl and or native fish, or is it for recreational purposes, or what? Because I think we need.
I think it's both here, and I think that's why this has been identified as an important property, because it serves like dual purposes. Because we've got the old trolley line up top for trail purpose, and we've got all the habitat, the wetlands and the habitat down below.
So my question though, Jeremy, was, do they, in other words, those two areas of interest conflict with each other? If we use it for recreation, are we likely to impinge on or damage the habitat? Or is there a pretty good demarcation that would, you feel, buffer one from the other?
Well, I think, there's a really good separation in them right now because the trail is way up the hill.
Okay.
And the wetlands are way down below.
Okay.
But we also, if people can be responsible about it, we want them to go and value use the water course, for fishing and to go bird watch near the, we want some sort of public use of the wildlife habitat too, as long as it can be done responsibly. How, it depends. Sometimes it depends on where these places are, but it seems with all the trail walkers through there that those areas have been kept in pretty good shape, versus like Bessie Park, where you go up the hill and you're out of the way and people dump there all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
So,
I mean, that would be just a concern I would have going forward is it complementary? It sounds like it is. And then more importantly, if we do have a portion of it or a large portion of it open to both recreational and habitat appreciation, if you will, will we, can we ensure that within reason, people are not going to compromise that habitat? Because that's my biggest concern, frankly, is if we're going to protect it for wildlife, which I very much in favor of, then do we really protect it, or is it going to be compromised just because of the way it's laid out? And I frankly I don't even quite know where it is because I'm not
right. So I think the best measure of that is how people treat the Sue Grossman Trail, which is right there. And honestly, it's in fairly good shape. There's not a lot of garbage, not a lot of dumping. It gets used so much that I think people almost like the users police the area. So, and I would think the Sue Grossman Trail users may, go up the hill if we can connect them somehow. And again, may police itself with dumping and that kind of thing.
Okay. Well,
with the proximity, I mean, that's the closest, I think, measure we have.
Okay.
That trolley trail is up in the woods a little bit, but you think a lot of the Sue,
close to the wetlands, really.
No, but a lot of the Sue Grossman users may use the access way to go, maybe come off of Sue Grossman and go up the hill. So it could get more foot traffic up there than we think too, because of its proximity.
I think the more use it gets, the better it's taken care of. It's always the places that are off the beaten path and if somebody's going to squat there, or somebody's going to go have a party there, like that's where the damage occurs. Or if, it's out of the way and somebody can ride dirt bikes or, but that won't happen if it's heavily used.
Well, and I think the purpose too was to connect the two access roads.
Yeah.
So it could be almost like a loop trail off of Sue Grossman. You could get to the end of Sue Grossman and do like a loop and come back to that parking area.
There was so that's a pedestrian loop. At one point, there was an idea of creating a road that did that. Is that still on the table?
I think they wanted to possibly extend Machuga. Am I thinking of the right road? They wanted to, Machuga. They wanted to extend Machuga and possibly make a little recreational park at the top so our trail would be on the right side. If you're going up the hill, this would be on the left when you get up to the top. So there was some consideration of that, and it made it a little more, I think, favorable to the recreation, the Parks and Rec and Public Works and that kind of thing. So
okay.
I don't know. I honestly don't know where that sort of use stands, but that would, if there's something that's going to get a little park that's going to get some use up there, more foot traffic, more, I mean, none of these places have no garbage, but it's just, they're a little more well tended when they get more use.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably a good location for some interpretive, it could be a good location for interpretive signage, a little,
I like that idea a lot.
I mean, there's, yeah, I mean, when you're on the Sue Grossman Trail in that area, you see kingfishers and interesting, interesting bird life for sure.
Yeah, and even Sue Grossman, I mean, you know, that was something I was thinking of when we were doing the exercise equipment, walking up and down, is, you know, we should have some interpretive signs along the marshes. You know.
I agree.
There used to be.
Well, yeah, they're barely standing at this point. Those old.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But they were there, you know. But you got to maintain them.
Yeah, yeah, they're still standing. There's just nothing on them, and they're rotten.
Yeah. Yeah. Maintenance is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, but to Bob's point from last meeting, there's probably, you know, other parcels that are worth a look, but I just think that all the connectivity with everything else there, you know, I would say we follow through with this one, you know.
And I'm not disputing that at all, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I support it. I'm just saying, let's look at those.
No, but based on your comments last meeting, I kind of looked around, just you know, it's kind of a quick gaze around town, and they're you know, they're either, you know, out, they're not, you know, a lot of the other ones aren't going to get public use, or they're not connected to other parcels, you know. And I just think this is probably, if we put a list together, this is going to be on the top, or near the top, you know.
And it's for sale. And
it's for sale, exactly, which is
and the price is coming down.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, the market may help us now too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on Leone property?
No, not for me. No.
Okay. So that's the only other things that are on our agenda, except adjournment. Do we have a?
Excuse me, I had one other thing I just wanted to raise for a second. I'm curious to know, you folks who know the town so well, are there other parcels that and this has nothing to do with what we've already agreed to. I'm not trying to upset the apple cart here. Are there any other parcels that if we had, you know, a grant come our way, that we would really like to purchase that's privately owned? Is there any place that you think of that says, oh my God, if that ever came up, we'd want to jump on it? Does anybody know of anything like that?
I don't know of anything that's
not offhand.
for sale.
Yeah.
Top of Red Mountain.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yes, the top of Red Mountain,
That's true.
that whole piece.
Yep.
Yeah.
You mean that where all the laurel used to be, or
No,
that
there's
would
another
count?
one. No, way at the end of Red Mountain, there's a big parcel.
I see.
Up at the top, Abeling Mountain, Jim.
Okay.
So or I don't know if that's what it's called, but it was like everything that was owned by the Abelings up there. It would connect Sunnybrook and Pond and Stillwater. Like it just is, there would be a continuous publicly owned or state owned swath of land that would be protected. It has a heron rookery, a beaver meadow, a beaver pond. There's bear up there. It's a very, very rich parcel of land right smack in the middle of town, and accessible. Accessible if we also had the railroad track parcel, which we do not own that yet, correct?
We do. Yes,
You
we
own
do.
that?
You're talking about behind which part of it?
Kmart.
Yes, we do.
So
Behind Kmart. Yeah, it was just we just acquired it last year.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually closed on it like right after I started. It was like the summer of last year.
Huh, I missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that was part of the whole plan, was that because you can access from Route 4, you would be able to access all of this open space with that parcel from downtown.
Yeah.
You know, you could go hike 10 miles and actually get to.
Does that connect with our current open space parcel at the end of Red Mountain?
The one that's on the Newfield Road?
No, like you go to the dead end of Red Mountain. We have an open. Actually, Bob and I went to that one and did the form. We have a piece of open space land like right at the cul-de-sac of Red Mountain. Does that connect?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the railroad track the railroad track goes, so the part we were trying to get was what went from there to Route 4.
Okay.
And I think what we own some portion to,
It's not a huge piece, but it just kind of comes right off the end of Red Mountain.
okay. And is
Yeah.
that, so I have to look at that because I'm trying to understand, like, the old track, we purchased it from the railroad?
I don't know who we purchased it from.
Would have been,
Yeah,
it was the railroad company. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
yeah.
So for my own edification, if I'd looked at a map of Torrington, where would this land be and how would I identify it? I'd like to just look. This may be 10 years from now, or it could be some wonderful thing happens between now and then.
If you were to look at a map of Torrington, you'd start at Route 4, go find Red Mountain Avenue.
Mhm.
Off of North Elm Street, yeah.
And you can, and if you're looking from an aerial view, you'll see that Kmart is behind, or actually, you know, in front of Red Mountain Avenue.
So it's near, this is the property behind what used to be Kmart?
So it's kind of near the Kmart Plaza. There's a railroad track between Goodwin Street. So Red Mountain Avenue, a street perpendicular that kind of connects to the Kmart parking lot is Goodwin Street.
Is that Tom? Did we lose you for a sec?
Yeah, I did. I'm back.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure that was you still.
At the end of Goodwin Street is a railroad track that goes from Route 4. I mean, it probably went all the way through the city, but it's abandoned. Goes Route 4 to the Newfield Road, and then there's some trails where you could kind of take a left and you would go up into the woods. If you follow Red Mountain Avenue, it's a dead end. It becomes Pine Ridge. Is that right? Or
The end of Red
Stone
Mountain, I'm not
Ridge?
sure.
It becomes another street, but it's all the same street. It has a new name, and that ends.
Oh, that's Stone Ridge.
Stone Ridge. So it goes up this hill. It ends. Stone Ridge ends, and then you'll see a big chunk of woods there. And on one side, to the right is Sunnybrook. I think to the left is Stillwater, and straight ahead is Burr Pond.
Is Burr Pond?
Burr Pond. Well, you've got Pognut State Forest, and then Pognut State Forest connects to Burr Pond.
So do you know who the landowner is of this property you're talking about?
I don't know their name. It's a developer. They were the ones who wanted to put 300 houses near Highland Lake.
I have it on my computer right now. I'm just moving, trying to find it.
And they were going to do a huge development up there, but this was prior to Mayor Bingham getting elected. Right before that, we demarcated where the city would connect sewers, and they were outside of that line, and it's ledge, so they cannot really develop it because you can't put septics up there.
So are you talking about the huge property behind the Abeling property?
No, I think I'm talking, well, Abeling still owns a property. They own like just a house.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
that's about
But yes, I
55
think
acres.
it's huge. So that's where they used to own that, all of that, and it got sold to the developer.
Okay, yeah, so the city owns it looks like the city owns a portion right at the end of Stone Ridge. About eight plus acres.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't think it's not, I don't think it's open space, but I can't tell from just looking at this. But it borders the Abeling property.
Meaning, is there a house on that Abeling?
Let me see. Well, yeah, that's a smaller parcel. That's a 3-acre parcel.
Right.
But behind that one off of Stone Ridge is a 55-acre one from the Abelings.
Oh, okay. Well, there should be well, do they still own it? I really thought they sold it to a developer.
I mean, I'm just on our GIS system, so it updates periodically.
It's
So-
a big piece, and I don't know, it's owned by a developer who's out of Glastonbury.
Behind that one, there's a 358-acre parcel owned by Moranti.
I don't know. I don't know the names.
Yeah,
But if I saw the map, I would probably recognize it. But yes.
I didn't mean to take it down. Didn't mean to take us down a rabbit hole, but I do find it interesting to know, the answer to that question. Kind of more. What's the word I'm looking for?
yeah. I mean, it's worth just keeping track of and keeping an eye on.
What are we looking? What are we
Those-
looking out to? And, it's not bad to dream a little bit.
I
Right.
thought that those properties were identified in the Plan of Conservation and Development
As what? As
as
open
desirable for the city to own at
Okay.
some point if possible. But
for open space,
have
right?
not that detailed.
Let me see what. This is actually good being at my desk. I can just grab all this stuff.
Right. So what I remember is, the farm that doesn't have a lot of frontage on East Main Street. I'm trying to remember if that's Torrington or New Hartford, or it might be part of both. So there was some farmland that was of interest. There's the sedge meadow that's a little bit before that we talked about. There's the parcel that has the mountain laurel.
Yep. Yeah, there actually is. There is a list here. Sunnybrook and Stillwater connector and preserve significant natural. It says property along Mountain Road and at the end of Stone Ridge Drive.
Yep,
So
so
we
that's
have
the
a
one
list.
that we were just talking about. Then there's the, I don't know any names, parable with names. So it's the one that we talked about last time with the mountain laurel.
There's just 3 properties identified in like the POCD.
Didn't know it
It says
existed.
connector, well, and some of it's greenways too. It's connector trail from Main Street to Sunnybrook. Connects Sue Grossman Greenway to downtown, and then Sunnybrook to Stillwater connector, and that's what this Mountain Road and Stone Ridge properties listed under.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I keep wondering about the Fitzgerald property, which is along Kennedy Drive. It's been on the market forever for like $1 million.
Yeah, for commercial development, it says zone.
Yeah.
It's a commercial approved or commercial zone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a pretty interesting property.
yeah, and that extends all the way from Kennedy Drive out to the golf course.
Is that Fitzgerald's property?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, in terms of conservation, that'd be a really place to have.
yeah. It looks. I mean, there's a couple of I can't remember the names of the roads, but there are a couple of little dead end roads. It looks like
Right.
they carved off 6 house lots or something over the years. 6, 8 houses, that sort of thing.
Pilgrim Road. and-
Pilgrim, and
Yeah, Pilgrim, right?
Bombasini is no. Let's see, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's 2 of them there. Yeah.
Just remember that everybody used to know, like, I mean, I don't think anybody goes there now, but, I used to, my sister's father-in-law, Tom Malley, used to take us to ponds on that property for ice skating, and
Mhm.
there's just a lot of, just a lot of neat stuff back there that,
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I work with
old timers kind of knew about.
Tom Malley.
What?
I work with a Tom Malley. Is it the same Tom Malley?
I don't know. Where do you work? He's like doing delivery stuff. He still works, but he's in his meeting.
Oh yeah, he works with us over at the bank. He's a courier.
That's what I'm talking about. If you want to know about what's good in town, ask Tom. He knows all the good
Oh yeah,
conservation, and he's
absolutely.
a biologist.
All right.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I got a couple of things to work on here.
Okay. So
But the big thing is I have a couple of from our whole agenda, I have a couple of questions that we need to make sure to get into the wetlands meeting on Tuesday, just
Okay.
for clarity.
okay. So we need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we have Dan and Jim, and then vote. Tom,
Aye.
Bob,
Bob doesn't want to leave.
Aye. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Right.
myself, Chris,
Anything to stay in the call.
so motion carries.
Okay,
Yep.
I have 7:13.
Have
Yep.
a great night.
You too.
All right.
Good night, all.
Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
thank you, everybody.
Yep. Talk to you soon.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye.